Good day everyone, and welcome to the last video for spooky season. This is of course going to be the Fantastic Marry Grave. And yes, you've probably guessed by that opening that I'm quite a fan of this manga. Yes. Why is it in spooky season? Well, this is the sort of manga that can bridge the gap between spooky and wholesome. So, my two seasons, spooky and wholesome season, this will bridge the gap very nicely. There are 52 chapters, plus a few little omakes and notes from the author. That is, of course, Yamaji Hidenori. And he's quite active on Twitter with the Marrygrave tag, if you want to do some fan art for that. So what's it about? Marrygrave is the story of an individual called Sawyer, or Riseman Sawyer, who seems to be a sort of weird, zombie-esque type of man. He goes around trying to collect ingredients to resurrect his dead wife, in the so-called dead man's recipe. Rosalie, his ex-wife, or former wife, collected the very same recipe before to resurrect him. So there's a sort of circular yin-yang-esque aspect to the manga, which I think a lot of people don't get, or they get and they overlook very quickly.
I'm sad now.
Saying that, there is a lot of love in this manga, and you can see that the author is very, I guess they're still very interested in this manga as they follow the tag a lot. They have most of the manga pinned to a YouTube tweet, so you can read it in Japanese, of course. There isn't an English translation, unfortunately, only fan ones. This was released in the year 2017 in Shukan Shōnen Sunday by Shogakukan. Saying this, there is some things about the manga that reminds me of a rather unique art style. Now, whether you like this art style is going to be very personal. Art is a very personal thing, and it brings back memories of the Beatles film, The Yellow Submarine, especially with the weird-esque, like, exaggerated profiles of some of the demons. So maybe that's an inspiration, I don't know. That's what I got from it, but maybe it isn't. Yellow Submarine was created by United Artists and King Features Syndicate, so maybe there's some influence there. I don't know if there is, it could be coincidental, but I just wanted to point out that weird thing that I noticed. Right, there are a few things about this manga that are great, and they're fantastic in their opinion, but there is one major drawback, and that's it got axed, and you can see it got axed too soon, because there is a lot of concept art for chapters that never got made. Now, saying all this, I hope that the artist one day will come back to it. He seems very active about the project that he once did, so maybe he will do the missing chapters if he does decide to do them, or they do decide to do them, on something like Pixiv or something like that. We can only hope, because I would love more of this story. The backgrounds are awesome, the exaggerations are awesome, there is a lot of comedy in this manga, but there's also a lot of sadness as well. It tries to do a lot, and it manages to do them, but I could see why some people would not like that, because you don't know if it's a horror, you don't know if it's comedy, you don't know if it's romance. It's all of those things and more, and in my opinion, I think it does them great. But I can see why people wouldn't like it, because there's too many genres going on at one time. I do like the monster designs, especially the Lich in some chapters, especially the mermaids, especially the goblins and demons. They're all exaggerated and all very cartoony. Even Sawyer himself is drawn very cartoony or manga-esque in a lot of panels, especially when he's fighting other characters and stuff. The spells are over-exaggerated and they shout them out, as in a lot of mangas and animes. There is a few things that I won't spoil, because I would really encourage you to read this manga, and so that's why I've not tried to point out some of the storylines or a lot of the plot of this manga. And just note that I do deeply recommend it, and if you are going to read one of my recommendations, this one ticks a lot of boxes, and I would encourage you to read it and use the hashtag Marrygrave if you enjoyed it. Or if you didn't, Alan, maybe we could have a conversation about that. It would be interesting to see people's opinions on this one. So, again, I'm really sad that it didn't get a nice long run. It only got its 52, 53-ish chapters, plus some author notes, which is a real shame. But saying all that, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy Rosalie's side story. I did enjoy the various other characters that pop up now and again. They all have interesting backstories. They're not one-dimensional. They're not one note. Everybody's very nuanced. Even their childhood history is very nuanced. It's really good. I would encourage all my watchers or followers on Twitter to give it a read. At least once. That's Marrygrave by Yamaji, Hidenori, and I've been Trix. You've been you. Do take care of yourselves, and bye bye.